So, did anybody got any doubts in yesterday's topics, importing or exchange rate providers or chart of accounts until here that what we have discussed? Yes.
I have tried many times to import exchange rate providers, but it's showing
Hmm.
as an error.
So what is the error that you're getting?
Like you got na yesterday, it's cancelled.
Okay, object reference.
Huh.
Okay, we'll check it at the end of the class. Okay.
Okay.
Then, so if there are no more doubts, we'll start with this one. Chart of accounts. So yesterday I explained what is chart of accounts. I told you the chart of accounts is set of main accounts or group of main accounts that define the accounting or accounting or the financial framework of the company. So you can say it as financial framework of the organization or a company. So it is required that you should at least have one chart of accounts. So for recording of transactions, you should definitely have one chart of accounts at least for your organization. You can maintain multiple chart of accounts also. So I write a key point here. At least one chart of accounts is needed. So that's important. Then you can use a single chart of accounts. I mean, if you design all these main accounts in a single chart of accounts, and you can use it for multiple legal entities. You can use the same chart of accounts for all the legal entities in your organization or for a few of them. So then we call it as a shared chart of accounts. So if you share it between multiple legal entities, then we usually call it as shared chart of accounts. So if you use individual separate chart of accounts for each legal entity, you will call it as normal chart of accounts or individual chart of accounts or legal entity specific chart of accounts. And if you use the same chart of accounts for few legal entities or for all the legal entities within the organization, then you will call it as a shared chart of accounts. Okay. In regular terms, they call so company is using a shared chart of accounts, which means all the legal entities within that organization are using shared chart of accounts or single chart of accounts, which is the same. So in our demo, we will create one chart of accounts and we'll use that for our one legal entity. Okay. So as I told you yesterday, chart of account consists of set of main accounts. So these set of main accounts are generally used for recording every transaction. So whenever I met an expense, the expense account will be debited. And if I pay it through the cash account will be credited. So one will be the expense account, which is in profit and loss agreement accounts. The other one will be the asset account. I mean, the cash account will always be the asset account. So in the same manner, if at all we have to record a transaction, there should be at least two accounts involved in it, which gets debited and credited, or more than two accounts also can be used in case of compound entries. Or I mean, if you are recording any bigger transactions rather than simple transaction, you can use more than two accounts. So what happens in implementation project is client will say that they are using this kind of accounting system. They are using expenses, they are using revenues, as well as within revenues they have some parts again. So if they have multiple business segments, like if they have a retail segment as well as if they have a textile segment. So these are the revenue accounts for retail segment. These are the revenue accounts for textile segments. You have to separate them again. In the same way, you can have different asset accounts. So for banks, you can have multiple banks. So for each bank, you will have a separate main account. So in the same way, we'll create accounts that are required in business, or we will analyze the client's requirement. What are the kinds of account they want and in which nature they would fall into. So it would fall into in this. I need a rent expense account, which would fall into the nature of expenses. So I need a main revenue account, which would fall into the nature of revenues. The same way, I have some bridging accounts which would eventually get debit and credited for some other purpose, and so that would fall into other profit and loss accounts. The same manner, I have asset accounts, liabilities, equities. So assets, assets, different types of assets. Liabilities, you have short-term liabilities, long-term liabilities. And equities also sometimes fall under liabilities, or you can maintain separate number sequences for equity. Okay, so once you understand this structure or division of accounts in the company, client's business, so you will number them according to the client's requirement. So how do we number them? I'll show you here. How do we number them? So numbering accounts is a very key part. So each account that you create will have a unique number. So I would say I would start with assets first. Okay, assets. So my assets will be starting from 1 lakh to 1 lakh. So say 1,999. So I'll just keep dots, or to indicate, I'll just keep 2. Okay, all my asset accounts will start from 1 lakh. So from 1 lakh, the 1 lakh 1 will be asset account, 1 lakh 2 will be asset account, until 1,99,999, all will be asset accounts. So I don't use those many asset accounts, but whenever I create asset accounts, I'll create 1 lakh, again I create 1 lakh 1, again I create 1 lakh 2. So in that manner, whatever starts with 1 will be the asset account. So that's how we design the chart of accounts, or we design the assets. So within assets, suppose I want my cash accounts to be in this series. Okay, and so starting from 1 lakh, 100 to 1. I can say it from starting from 1 lakh to 1 second. So 1 lakh, 100. So it can be like this. So this would be my cash accounts within this chart of, within this asset account. This would be my cash accounts. Again, 1 second. Okay. So in this, I can structure as my cash accounts like this. Within this, I can have my cash accounts. Again, the fixed asset accounts might start from 1,20,000. So it is again one series only. So 1,20,000 to 1,20,999. So I can say it like this: 1,29,999. So I can divide within the assets. Again, I can divide my each segment of accounts into, give specific numbers for segment of accounts. For inventory accounts, I can give it like starting from 1,30,000 to 1,39,999. In this way, I can give inventory accounts, inventory related or raw material accounts. So apart from this one, that in individual segregation or within the segregation, I'll just go with the main segregation or main allocation of numbers. So for 2 lakhs to 2,09,999, I'll select all liabilities accounts. So whatever I'll create or decide to create, those liability accounts will always fall under this number sequence. Okay, again for 3 lakhs to 3,09,999, I'll have equity accounts. So 4 lakh, I'll use 4 lakh to 4,999. I'll have revenue 5 lakh to 999. I have expenses, and for 6 lakhs to 699, I'll have other profit and loss accounts, maybe other P&L accounts. So this is how I can structurize the chart of accounts. So 1 lakh, 1 series will be assets, 2 series will be liabilities, 3 series will be equity accounts, 4 series will be revenue accounts, 5 series will be expenses, 6 series will be other profit and loss accounts. So it will be equity and as well as other balance sheet accounts, I can say. So 4 series has revenue, 5 series has expenses. So I'll roughly show you how it would generally look like. So if I go into system, so if I go, I'll go for another legal entity. I'll go for USMF. Okay. I'll go for general ledger. I'll go for chart of accounts, accounts and main accounts. Okay, only to show you. I'll again walk you through that menu. So that's the topic that we have to discuss. So you can see here, there are certain accounts that are configured. I can see this, ignore this one. You can see normally bank accounts are there here. So 1 lakh, 110, 1 lakh, 115, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60. So until this one, we have bank accounts. Following that, we have petty cash account, safe drop bank account. So all these are cash accounts until here. Deposits cash, deposits check, deposits credit card, voucher, gift card, currency log. So all these are cash items, almost all equal to cash items or cash equivalents, what we call. So all of them will be until here. So here again at the end, 1 lakh 19999 will be a total cash and cash equivalents account, which is a total of all these accounts. So this, for this account, we don't post any transactions. We just use this for the purpose of reporting. That's all. So we generally don't post any accounts for these accounts, total accounts. So again, we have this 1 lakh 2, which is accumulated depreciation, which falls into the asset category, revaluation adjustment, bonds, other marketable securities. In the same way, if I go for next, I will have one series, most of them, and two series starts again. So I have accounts payable, PDC payments, post-dated check payments, intercompany payables, other accounts payables, and then anything that we are liable to pay to others will be considered as liabilities, and all the two series accounts will be liabilities. So every main account will have a unique number, and that we have to decide according to the client's requirement. Client will explain us that they want their inventory accounts as well as their liability accounts on the short-term accounts in this number, and this from one starting from this number to this number, and long-term liability starting from this number to the other number. Again, for each category, they will give you the details. So you can see here all the tax payables are configured in one sequence. So tax payables are starting from 20 to 100. So for every tax payable account to account, they are giving an accounts difference, such that if there are any California state tax payable accounts that has to be created later, so that 10 accounts will be used, or the 10 gaps that were left can be used. It's need not to be that you have to fill each and every number. You can leave gaps and you can create numbers like this. So again, they left 10, and again they go for 20, 30, 40, and for each state tax payable account. So it's US chart of accounts actually. For each state chart of accounts, they have separate numbers. So this is how generally it looks like, and you have to plan your chart of accounts in this depending on the client's already existing chart of accounts which they are using in other ERP or in their business, or according to the client's requirement. So usually you will explain the client that we have a solution like this. If you can follow this, this would be very simple chart of accounts you can follow. Then client will look into this, will agree, will give you a pattern of accounts that will fit into each and every number, and you will create all those accounts in your in Dynamics. Client doesn't have any idea about creating accounts in Dynamics. They'll just number the accounts and give the account name and then the nature of the account. Then you will create such accounts in Dynamics. So we will see in the next class how there are different types of main accounts, how we can configure a main account and give different details in that main account. So we'll see that part. So
Maybe?
this part, yeah, Shishu.
So we had given some gap, right? Means it is around 10 or 15 we will give as per the predefined. Okay. So in this we had given mix and match discount and customer cash discount, right? The difference is around 80. If it is
Of course,
if in case that difference amount is means in the meantime when we are posting entries, the difference is already full. Means the 80 entries were already posted, and we need to post few more entries.
it's not entries. It's not entries. Okay, Seshu. It's only numbering the main account, that's all. So the entries will have separate vouchers again. So
Okay.
that the transactions are not related to these numbers. These are only the numbers that we use for main accounts. Okay. For ledger accounts, we just give a unique number. That's all. So whenever we are trying to
JP, your voice is lagging.
create account for debiting and creating purpose. Okay. Is it the same for every one of you guys? Hello.
Yes, Jay, yes.
Yes, bro.
Okay.
Yes, yes.
Jaiprakash, are there any best practices for this numbering this?
There are few, actually different practices depending upon the country that the chart accounts are being configured to. So I'll show you the difference as well. Once we coming to the chart of accounts configuration page, I'll show you. Good practices are understand. So what are different segments we have? In as I said, in expenses we have operating and non-operating, right? So other than that, getting anything and how they want to number them in case if they have different segregations or separations. Again, under revenues, if they have any child line items in under revenue, so how they want to number them. So you have to understand that part. Temporary accounts, as well as coming to assets, what kind of assets they have, or if they have different nature of accounts. Generally, the nature of accounts are like current assets, fixed assets. So if they have any other nature within current assets, again, they have cash, bank, or any other things. So they will give separate numbering according to the nature of the account. Okay, each subsegment of the account, they will number it differently, or client might want it to number differently. So you have to explain client that it will work for them, or there are different ways to do so. So then client will look into it and come up with a requirement. So you can fit that requirement into Dynamics quickly. So good practices is always understanding about the accounting system and the set of accounts they have to correctly understand that, or to work with the client to understand the system. Mostly senior consultants will work on this part, and you will be asked to look into the chart of accounts. But I mean, they will give you the list of accounts that they have to configure. You might have to import them using the import templates that we have. So I'll show you that. Okay. You see properly, at least other than Cheshu. Hello, guys, I can't hear you. Hello, one of you speak out, please.
Hi, Jay.
Vamsi, am I audible?
No, it is okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. You understood what I said previously? I mean, the requirement and what the practices to follow.
Yes, Jay.
Okay, right. So it's normal Indian accounting structure pattern to Brazilian pattern as well as to Chinese pattern. They will follow different chart of accounts or different ways of chart of accounts. I'll show you how they will number or how they will use. Okay. So that you will get an idea about how you can not only numbers, you can also give alphabets also in bit other than numbers. I mean, you can start with alphabets as well as numbers. Both ways you can do. Like assets will start with A, liabilities will start with L. So you can give in that way also. But that's not a recommended way or practice. But still, there is a possibility. We'll see how we can configure main accounts. Okay. So why I'm stressing this so much is that it's a very important part in implementation project. Actually, in support, you will the chart of accounts and the accounts will be already configured. You might just go and check the account, that particular account menu. In case if you have that, you don't have to look into many aspects in support. You have to understand the requirement of the client and configure them.
Can you repeat once again? I mean, the
Sir,
voice was
your voice breaking on. Please make 1 second, sir.
Okay. Is it clear enough? I should
No,
look
sir.
into this. So Wi-Fi is good actually. Let me connect my mobile once again then. Just have less charge in this mobile too. Give me a second. Guys, can you hear me now properly, please? Hello?
Yeah, now audible. Your voice is audible.
Okay. Thank you, Susila.
Yes, sir.
And yeah, I was saying like, what? I can't hear somebody saying something. Is it clear enough? Seshu?
Yeah, better.
Okay, my Wi-Fi is troubling only in the evening. I don't know why, but so I was saying earlier, like in support, you don't have a lot of issues with this chart of accounts and all. Mostly in implementation only, you have to understand how to configure chart of accounts and all. In support, it will be already configured, right? Sometimes you may face issue with one of the other main accounts, so you have to go back to that particular main account and understand the menu details or menu configurations in that main account. That we will discuss in the next class. Okay, and with other than that, you don't have a lot of things to discuss in chart of accounts. So, but only the planning of chart of accounts and configuring it is the major part. That's all. So if it is clear until here, numbering of accounts, each accounts and subcategories within the accounts, I have shown you examples also. We will do it now by ourselves. We'll try to create a chart of accounts, and in that chart of accounts, we'll try to give the numbers. I mean, create some main accounts once after configuration of chart of accounts. Okay. So to configure chart of accounts, we can go to general ledger. So I'll just change the legal entity. Chart of accounts is also a global page. It will take you to the same page from whichever legal entity you will go in. I'll just take us to the MRF legal entity page. One second, it's loading. So in MRF legal entity, I'll navigate to general ledger for chart of accounts. So in general ledger, I have this option called as menu called as chart of accounts. You can see here, and within this I have accounts, and within this I have another option called chart of accounts. It's a 4-step navigation. General ledger, chart of accounts, within that accounts, and within that chart of accounts here. Right, just write down the navigation. I'll just read it again. General ledger, chart of accounts, accounts, and again chart of accounts. So if I click on chart of accounts, I can see there are a lot of chart of accounts that were already created. One for each company I created, but there are also certain companies in this organization which use a single chart of accounts. So I named it as shared chart of accounts. Actually, here you can see shared chart of accounts. So this is being used by a lot of companies in this organization. The same chart of accounts is used by USMF, DEMF, USSI, USM, a lot of other companies as well. But again, we have individual chart of accounts as well for legal entities that I have created manually and that I have designed chart of accounts. So we'll see for our legal entity, we'll create one and we'll see how we can create it. To create a new chart of accounts, you have to click here on new. You can see this option. And you can just give the name as MRF COA, so which says that description as MRF chart of accounts. Okay, there is a concept called main account mask. I'll come back to that point. Don't worry. So I'll just click on save. So we have created a chart of accounts. I mean, roughly we have created a header and details for chart of accounts. So chart of accounts always includes the accounts within it. So we have to again configure the accounts one by one here. So I'll show you how to configure accounts one by one. Later we'll discuss the details in the accounts menu. Okay. So any confusion until here? I mean, creation of chart of accounts or navigation. All right.
No, Jay.
Okay. So I told you here that you can number your accounts in this way, like 1 lakh to 1 lakh to 1,99,999. So here we are using 6 digits, right? It's not obvious that every client will go for 6 digits. 6 digits are recommended because they might have a lot of accounts maybe in future, such that they should not lack numbers once again, right? So if you use thousands, so thousands might be filled up. The accounts, asset accounts might be more than 1,000, and sometimes in business requirement there have to be new accounts created, and you might not find space for new account maybe in the same sequence. So that would be difficult again. So general recommendation, or most of them use 6 digits. But if they feel like they only have very less accounts and that they don't go beyond it, they can also use 4 digits. I mean, 1,000 to 1,999. That's all. So same 2,000 to 2,999. They can use how many numbers as they want. No problem with that. So, but they will normally follow a single pattern. So if they are using 6 digits here, they usually use 6 digits only. Okay. So I'll try to configure the one by one accounts here. So can somebody suggest me a cash account? So I am starting with assets 1 series, right? So you can give any number, but can anybody suggest me a cash asset account? So I'll start with cash actually. So go for another account, maybe later I'll ask you one. Okay. To click create a new main account, I clicked here on new. So it will take me to this page. So now I am creating a main account in chart of accounts, MRF chart of accounts. Okay. So I have to give main account number and main account name here. Main account number and main account name. So main account number, I'll generally give it as 1 lakh. So which is 1 series, first number in the 1 series. I'll call it as cash. So here I have this one option, main account type. What is the type of this main account? So if I drop it down, I have profit and loss, revenue, expense, balance sheet, asset, liability, equity. So these are all what that we discussed previously. Total is something I'll explain you. The reporting and common is something we have for reporting purpose only. So now I have created cash, right? So what is the main account type for cash? Anybody? It's easy, guys.
Asset.
Asset.
Of course, asset. So cash account is always an asset account. It's a current asset, or what we call short-term asset, what you can also call as. So I just create it. So all these details we'll discuss tomorrow. I'll just save this until here. Okay, created this main account and saved it until here. So can somebody suggest me another asset account? Usual asset
Bills
account.
receivable.
Okay, good. And I can give the next number 1 lakh 1, or I can go for any other number. I'll go like this, 1,10,000. Okay. Bills receivable is not with the nature of cash, so I'll separate cash accounts again. So I'll give different one for bills receivable. Right. So again, I'll change the main account type as asset. So once I change the main account type here, I see the default debit or credit coming here. So by default, all the asset accounts are debit, right? So it will change to debit. So if I save this again, I'll see it again here. If I close this form, I'll go back to chart of accounts only. So I see 2 accounts created, 1 lakh and 1,10,000 cash account and bills receivable account. Both of them are of the nature of asset. Okay, this main account category topic we'll discuss tomorrow. Means subcategories with subcategories for the assets, like the group of assets will fall into cash, group will fall into bank. So that subcategories we'll see tomorrow. So this is how usually we create one by one account in chart of accounts. So somebody suggests me a liability account and how, which number it should start with and the name of that account as well as for any details. So suggest me one liability account.
Share capital account.
Share capital will come into equity, not liability.
Okay.
Bills payable.
Creditors.
Nice. Creditors or accounts payable. Anyone? Okay. Both are same almost. So I'll go with our friend's suggestion. I'll go for 2 lakhs, which is liabilities 2 series, right? I'll go for accounts payable, which is also called as sundry creditors in some other books, but generally it's called as accounts payable, which we are liable to pay to somebody. So what is the main account type for accounts payable? Quick guys.
Credit.
Liability.
Liability.
Yeah, if
Yes.
I select liability here, by default it will change to credit here. The debit or credit default is credit again. So you can forcibly change it to debit once again if you want, but by default system will take it as liabilities will be taken as credit and it will be left over like this. Okay, so this is how we create account, and again I need few revenues, actually few expense accounts. So according to our decision, what is the expense account number? Which number it should start with?
5.
5 series. With 5 lakhs to 5,99,999 we have expenses. So I'll go for 5 lakhs. Somebody suggest me a good expense in the business, regular expense.
Rent.
Okay, nice. Rent expense. So it's the nature of expense. So here we have, so expenses are always debit, right? So what is the principle for this? Anybody?
What do you have asked? Once again, what do you have asked?
The principle
Principle.
or the accounting rule that explains all the expenses should be debit.
Debit all expense and
Debit all
credit all
expense.
incomes.
And gains.
What do we call that principle?
Nominal.
Our accounting rule.
Nominal account.
Is it nominal?
Real account.
It's nominal account only.
Okay.
It's nominal account only. Okay, debit all expenses in business and credit all incomes and revenues will be nominal account. Real account is what comes into the business and what goes out of the business again. Okay, that's more related to the assets and liabilities. Personal accounts are related to the persons. So for explaining this concept, I thought of taking a class on Sunday. I'll confirm it to you until tomorrow when we will take a class on Sunday of these accounting rules and different types of accounts. Again, we'll dig deep more on this accounting system. So just to relate it to dynamics and for the non-accounting people who are in this class, we'll see that. So I gave the account type as expense. So you know expenses are always debit. So it took the nature debit. I mean by nature they are debit. So it the default as debit. So any other expense account, guys?
Yeah, I have a question in this main account type. When we have these expenses, revenues, assets, and liabilities, then again, why do we have this balance sheet and P&L as well in a main account type?
You can have other accounts other than expense and revenues. Suppose we have a bridging account. It's neither a revenue nor an expense. I mean debiting and crediting as an intermediary account or for transfer of balances between one bank to other bank or one vendor to other vendor. So we use this intermediary accounts for temporary debits and credits. So that can fall under other profit and loss accounts, or there can be other things other than expenses and revenues which does not have a standard nature, like it can be or it cannot be expense. Sometimes it gets debited, sometimes it gets credited, and at the end we have to see what is the net balance in that account. So those kind of accounts particularly fall into profit and loss. Understood?
Yeah, okay.
Oh, and balance sheet also we have a retained earnings account we have, right? So it's neither it's neither an asset or liability. It depends again according to the balance that we have in the retained earnings account. Mostly it will be having positive balance and it will look like an asset, but they will manage it as a balance sheet account only rather than a asset or liability. So you might have miscellaneous accounts, anything you have. So for that purpose, there might be different management or other requirement in other countries comparatively. In India, we don't generally use this other accounts. I mean, most of them will fall into the same nature. But if there are any, you can use for balance sheet and profit and loss. Nothing more specific about that. Okay.
Okay, thank you.
And guys, any other revenue accounts? I mean, any other expense account, guys? So I'll go for 5 lakh one. Suggest an expense account.
Salary account.
Salary expenses. Okay. Expense. So next question would be to my friend Suresh Yadav. Suresh, what and suggest another expense account regularly used in business. Suresh, you there? Okay. Sairam Shankar.
Electricity bill.
Electricity bill is an expense, not electricity bill actually. Electricity expenses will be an expense, but sometimes electricity expenses can be calculated under miscellaneous expenses also. But since you have suggested it, I'll create an account for it. Electricity expenses. So expense, right? Anybody else? Any other account? So I'll create one more for you. Suggest an expense account.
Depreciation. Yes.
Okay, good one. Depreciation expense comes into expense and save it. So any revenue account? Anyone? Starts with 4 lakh. There won't be any different revenues. You can say major. You just call it as business revenue. You can't segregate your revenue like you have done with expenses actually. Business revenues. I'll call it a revenue account. I'll credit it. So it will all revenues are always credit, right? So it will be credited. So if I go back, I can see the list of accounts that I have created here. If I feel like I don't want this account here in this account structure, I can delete it from here. So here I have this option of delete. Okay. And if I want to add more, I can add more. So this is one option. Understood until here, creation of these accounts. We'll create more accounts going forward. Don't worry. Tomorrow also we'll create some, but any confusion until here, creation of accounts and creation of chart of accounts. Yes, no?
No.
Seshu.
It's clear, Jay.
Okay. Sairam Shankar, Naveen. Okay, understood. Good. Then we'll discuss about this part, main account mask. Okay. So we have this part called main account mask. So this generally regulate the user to create main accounts other than the specified format here. In Dynamics, usually hash indicates numeric. Okay. If I give 6 hashes means I can use 6 numbers, only 6 numbers. So this main account mask controls this part. Here I am giving numbers, right? For 6 digits I am giving, right? 5 is 5. I mean, starting with any number, but I'm giving 6 digits. So this main account mask generally controls this numbers that we give here. Suppose if I'm creating a new main account, just show as an example, I'm giving some more than 6 numbers. Okay, I'm giving like 7 numbers. You can see I gave 7 fours here, and I'll just give this account name as test account. Okay, not anything else. I'm just saving it. See here, it is saying the main account does not match the main account mask. Enter a new main account. It will not allow me to save it or create that. Okay, no problem, Sai. So you have seen it, right? So the main account mask I gave, or the condition that I gave, is 6 numerics. So I should only have 6 numerics. If I have more than 6, it will not allow me. It says that main account mask is not allowing. If I have less than 6, suppose if I only have 4, so it is saying main account must have 6 characters. So that's how the main account mask regulate the users or regulate the whoever is creating the main account. So it always indicates that the main account number should be in a format and it should not go beyond that format. So what is that format called? It's called main account mask. Okay, I'll just delete this that I'm trying to create. It's gone. So I'll go back here. So that's how the main account mask works. Suppose if I remove the main account mask and I don't use any main account mask, I'll go for a new account creation. I'll give the same account number that I tried previously, 7/4. Okay, I actually gave 7/4 here, so I can click on test. So I'll save this. I can see this is saved. I mean, it is created. I can close it back and I can see the account created here. Some noise from somebody. I'll just mute you, okay? Bala, can you, Sairam, can you please mute? I did. Okay, he's having some problem with his gadget, as he said. Okay, well, see, now it is created. It does not regulate this time because we don't have any main account mask that stop us or that indicate us that it cannot exceed some number or it can it has to follow the same format and all. It doesn't indicate. So we can create like this, but we will generally use main account mask to regulate users from creating numbers that are beyond the format. We thought of having 6 digits only, right? So if somebody is creating 7-digit number, again it's a headache, or it's not unnecessary, or what we can say, it's out of the configuration or out of what we have planned. So in order to regulate such things, we use main account mask. I just delete this one. Okay. So there is another example. It's not that you only use numerics, but generally they will use all numerics only in main chart of accounts. You can also use alphabets also. So I'll show you how you can use alphabets. So I just created, I don't have any main account mask applicable enough. I'll start this with A. Okay, A 4 5 6 1 2 3, and I'll give it as a test, just a name. Okay, I'll save this. See, this account is also saved. It's not mandatory that you have to give numerics only. You can give alphabets also in the main account number. Go back. I can see this in the bottom here. According to the alphabet, alphabet wise or the number sequence wise, the accounts will be arranged here. I can see this one here since it is having alphabet in the starting. You can give this alphabet in the backside also rather than in the front, anything. So if you create again this kind of accounts, again it's trouble. So you can create A for asset. For all assets, you can start with A. For all liabilities, you can start with L. So like that you can create if you want. But that's not something that clients really opt for. They use simple pattern or they use another pattern. I'll show you that another pattern. So I'll delete this account. Okay, this single account. Deleted. Now here also I can give mask like this and symbol. This and symbol mostly indicate alphabets, and this hash symbol indicates numerics. In Dynamics, and symbol indicates alphabets and this indicates numerics. So if I create an account now, what should be my type or the number that I can give here? Anybody? Anyone? What could be the valid combination of alphabets and numerics here? I gave a main account mask here as this one. You can see this one. This and symbol indicates alphabets and hash symbol indicates numerics. Okay, this is the main account mask. I have to create accounts in this same format only. I mean, in the numbers I have to number in the same format only. Alphabets followed by numerics. So I want to create one new account here. Suggest me the very valid one.
AB 1234.
Okay, AB 1234, and if I give it as a test account, I'll save it. System will agree this one because it is within the main account mask. So if I create something like ABC 456 like this, and if I say it as test2, generally, if I save it, it says the main account does not match the main account mask. Enter a new main account like that. So it's our main account mask is 2 alphabets and 4 digits, right? Here I gave 3 alphabets and 3 digits, which is not matching with the mask design. So system will not allow me to create this account. So I have to delete this account or rearrange this main account number. It will not allow me.
Can you explain once again, Jayaprakash, if you don't mind?
Sure. So previously I told you that hashes indicate numerics, and this and symbol indicates actually alphabets. So you can also create your main accounts with alphabets and numerics. I showed you in the previous example. Like this you can create. So this is in relation. This is in line with the main account mask. Okay, main account mask is like 2 alphabets and 4 numerics. So here I am using 2 alphabets and 4 numerics. It is agreeing. In case if I am creating anything other than this format, I suppose 3 alphabets and 3 numerics, system will not allow me to create the main account or will not allow me to save that main account if at all it is created. Okay, it all depends on the main account mask. Already created accounts. See, I have created already accounts which are beyond main account mask, so it will not affect them because they were already created without main account mask, right? So it will not affect them. But the new account that you create once after giving the main account mask will be affected or regulated to follow the same mask that we have given here or the same pattern that we have given here. Got it, Bala?
Yes, yes. Thank you very much.
Okay, you can also use some kind of symbols like this, 2 alphabets, hyphen, and 4 digits also if you want to. But not at all the most common.
What
Please.
would the hyphen indicate actually? I mean, we know that.
It doesn't indicate anything. It just acts as hyphen only.
So
Okay,
we need to add hyphen.
Yeah, every time
Okay.
you create the account, you need to add hyphen like this. Okay, yeah, hyphen 4523 test 2 save. So this time it will save because I added hyphen also. In case if I miss hyphen, let's see what it will do. 4589 I gave, and I just give test 3. So it says it has 7 characters, which means we have to understand hyphen is missing here.
JP,
Hmm.
is there any possibility to allot automatically main account number?
No, there is no possibility to allot the main account numbers automatically because main account numbers are very important and each main account has to be separately given a number. Okay, no way of allocating the numbers automatically. Actually, client only will design their chart of accounts or give the numbers and give us. So we will configure them accordingly. Okay, we don't take any decisions in that.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm just explaining you how system will perform here. Okay.
So the main intention of this is to ensure that people don't follow. I mean, people follow the parameters, right? Or is there any other purpose apart from that?
The main motto of this main account mask is that people will not go beyond the format that is already being followed or single format for every main account. So 6 digits if they say always 6 digits only you have to give. Don't give 4 digits or 7 digits, which will be confusing again.
Means it like data validation, right?
Yeah, it controls someone who is creating the accounts. I can't name it like data validation, but it validates before creating anything. Yes.
So is it equal to user roles? Like, I mean, they will be user roles, right? Is it any different from that?
No. Any user should follow the same mask.
Okay.
Okay. So they can't go beyond it. If in case they can erase this mask if they want to, but not
I'm sure
recommended.
that not everyone can create main accounts, right? I mean, only few people with privileged
Few people only with given privileges will create main
Yeah.
accounts or can access main account page, because if we give access to every user, they will create different accounts.
Yes, true.
Which will so it's one format and one way only they will go for creation or give licenses to few people who have good knowledge on or who already worked in the configuration and design of chart of accounts. Okay.
So it's like two
That's
level of
with
validation, right? Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
So that 2 level of validation, yeah, if you don't have user permission, you can't come to this page at all. Okay, you cannot come to this page. If even though you come, you can't change anything. So there will be different levels of permissions again. Okay. So if at all I give a minimum permission to you, you can't see this option new to create a main account. You can only access this page and see what is there in here. You can't change any data here, or you can't create anything or delete anything. You can't do anything because you don't have any permission to do so. Here, since I'm system admin, with the system admin role, I have every permission to do in this. So I can access anything, delete or create anything. Okay.
So this thing should be conveyed to the business users. I mean that these are special things and that they need to take care of, or like they know actually that these are like main accounts.
They
some
know
sort of-
what is sensitive in their business. So main accounts are always sensitive, right?
Great.
They know it, and we can indicate it if there will be certain things that we have to convey the client. Maybe we will explain the business process once after configuring in Dynamics. Then we can convey. Client only will come up with questions. What we want to regulate the users from changing this, what we want to do. They only ask most of questions rather than we explaining them. Okay. So that's all with this creation of chart of accounts and main accounts within this. We have another one option here I called as automatic account type selection. So I'll show you how this one works. Okay. So here, automatic account type selection, I clicked on it. I can click new here. Suppose I'll just give character number 5. Okay, whatever the account that starts with 5 will always be an expense account. Whatever the account that starts with 4 will always be a revenue account. Whatever the account that starts with 1 will always be a asset account. So I can give it like this. So according to our plan only. 1 assets, 2 liabilities, 3 like this. So when it starts with 1, it will automatically be asset account. System will automatically take the account type. So I'll show you how it works. I'll just save these 3. Not most of them will use this, but I'll show you how it works. Save these 3, go for the account creation here. Now I'll give the account number as 1,02,000. Okay. So I'll give it as, the name of the account as. Oh no, let it be. I'll just give it as petty cash account. Okay. Other than cash, I have petty cash account. See here, the account type is automatically changed to asset. It's because we gave that automatic account type selection. And one backdrop of this is the account account type will be selected, but default debit or credit will not be selected. This one will not be selected. Only if we select it manually, this default credit or debit will be selected. If we use that automatic process, this default debit or credit will not be selected. But this does not affect any operations usually, but to say it will not be selected. That's all. So if I create one more account like the expense account, I go for 5,04,000, call it as other expenses. So I see this main account category is, this main account type is automatically changed to expense. Since we gave condition like 5, whatever that starts with 5 will be expense, right? So this default debit or credit will not come. Again, we have to select and debit for this. Expense are always debit, right? So that's how that works. So you can use that if you want, or if you feel like you will anyway, you have to manually give this debit or credit. If you feel like why such headache again, you have to give this one. You can usually give whatever the account type you want here, main account type, then it will automatically choose the debit or credit thing. So two-way any work. I'll close this. And if I don't want it, I can select this one. And sorry, I just clicked on the wrong button. Okay. Just walk you through chart of accounts again. MRF chart of accounts is here. Edit. Then I don't want this automatic account type selection. I'll just delete it. So usually this works in that way. If you would select. So that's all with this menu. Chart of accounts and creation of main accounts within chart of accounts. So if you are clear with this, I'll explain you how different chart of accounts look like. Clear, guys?
Yes.
Okay. So I have a lot of chart of accounts here in the system. I'll show you how each one of them look like. So this is Indian chart of accounts. I see India COA. Normally in India, we have this kind of chart of accounts. So the same way, 6-digit numbers, unique numbers for all the accounts. So these are asset accounts. Again, you have liabilities, so you can see accounts like this also. You can categorize them if you want, filter them by the account type. So assets we have, later we have liabilities. So you can select one here if you want. This is exactly okay. I can select. I'm bad with spelling. I matches liability. Okay, liability is here. So liability accounts are here. All the liability accounts. In the same way, I can filter the expense accounts. I can filter the. Sorry, it's lost somewhere. So this is how normal Indian chart of accounts look like. Unique numbers for each main account on the same number patterns. For liabilities, we have 2 for again. So here we have decided like for assets we will have 1, for liabilities we have 2, for equity and other balance we have 3. But client might ask like you want for revenues you want 1 series, for expenses you want 2 series, other profit and loss you want 3 series, for assets you want 4, for liabilities you want 5. For this equity and other balance, you want 6. So in that case, we have to go with client's requirement. Revenue account starts with 1 series, expense starts with 2 series, like that. So it's all about client's requirement. So if I go for Japanese chart of accounts, I see this pattern. They are using 5 series, 5 and 1 lakh, 1 lakh 1 and 1 lakh 120. So same kind of assets will be with 1 series. Like so, some assets are again having 2 series. You see here. So again, they don't have a specific number for each account. So the assets are ending with 3 and liabilities are starting with 4, 5 and almost 6 also liabilities, but 7 is the equity accounts. Again, 8 series will be their expense accounts. 9 series will be revenue accounts. I think so. Yeah, 9 are revenue and there are other expenses in 9 also, but it's their plan. I don't know how they follow in Japan, but somehow they have designed it like this. They used 1 series, 2 series and 3 series all for assets. 4, 5, 6 all for liabilities, 7 for equity, 8 for expenses, 9 for revenues. Okay, 10 we don't have 10, right? So last one will be other profit and loss account. That's all, single account. I'll show you one interesting one. So that's for Brazil. You will see this. See here in Brazil, we have chart of accounts like this: 1, 1.1, 1.1.1, 1.1.1.1. I think Seshu would be having some idea about this. How? Seshu, there? So this,
Yes.
any idea?
No, actually.
You did not work on Brazil statements previously?
No.
Okay, then I'll
Except
explain you.
Brazil, we had worked on all.
Okay, lucky fail. So Brazil, this one account is there, right? So number 1. So 1.1 is a child in 1. Okay, 1.1.1 is a child in 1.1 again. So this 1.1.1 is a child in this one. So all these are totals. So coming from here, this 1.1.1.01 is a child in this one. So again, this 1.1.2 is this line, I mean this indent series. So again, within this I have one child. I mean, I can say like, I would say, so 1 will be say asset. Okay, 1.1 will be current assets. Okay, 1.2 will be fixed assets. Call it as fixed assets or long-term assets, anything. Okay, so in this 1.1 in current assets, I have another number 1.1.1, which is cash account or cash related accounts. Okay, it's a total cash. So I can call it as total cash. within this 1.1.2, I'll call it as, sorry, not 1.1.2 actually. I'll go for 1.1.1.1. It's a subsegment in the total cache again. I'll call it as cache account. 1.1.1.2 will be petty cache account. Okay, so this is how it is like. Got some idea?
So it's similar to numbering in Word, MS Word, right? Like
Kind of. So it is a total account. It's a total of all assets, right? So see, total assets account, this one, which is having number 1. 1.1 is a subcategory in assets like current assets, and 1.2 is fixed assets. We only have 1.1 and 1.2. Again in 1.1 I have 1.1.1, which is total cache. In that again I have chains 1.1.1 cache and 1.1.2 as petty cache. So I go for 1.1. So I'll show you this one, 1.1.2 this time. So which is bank. Okay, in the 1.1.2 again I'll have chains, right? I'll show you how. 1.1.2.1, which is SBI Bank. 1.1.2.2 ICICI Bank. So this is the nature of total. This is the actual line. So SBI balance plus ICICI balance will combinedly form total bank balance like this. Cash balance plus petty cash balance will totally form total cash balance. So you see, you can differentiate with the indents here actually. So this total cash, this bank will be in one sequence. This 1.1.1 is a child in this, 1.1.2 is another second child in this. The same way here, 1.1.2.1 is in this, 2.2 in this. So Brazilian chart of accounts will be like this, little confusing, but still most of them in Brazil and Portuguese will use this pattern. I think Vamsi would be having any idea of what we are following, right, Vamsi?
Yeah,
Actually,
yes,
this type of pattern will be in India also, but the
Yes,
accounting code will be not there. Here the
yes.
subledgers format will be there.
Yes, I am working for an Indian company, so we also follow this kind of pattern actually.
Yes.
So
In
not
India
most of
also
them
will
will follow.
maintain under current assets JL, cash, under cash and bank balance, cash and bank balance, cash and bank, under banks at ICICI and
Yeah.
HDFC. All this will
You
be
can
there.
also give normal numbers for this, like in our chart of accounts. 1000 will be current assets, okay? And in 1000, that starts with 1000. I mean, not 1000. 1 lakh will be current assets, suppose. And in that 1,10,000 will be cash accounts. So what all that
Yes.
comes in from 1,10,000 to 1,20,000 will be cash accounts. So from 1,20,000 bank accounts will start. So within that again we can give numbers 1,20,000 to 1,20,000 1,20,000 all these will be chains in again.
Parent
That
child
way we
relation,
can
right?
yeah, in that way we can create. So mostly with any numbers you can create chart of accounts. So this 1.1 system is usually followed in Brazil and Portugal mostly.
Yeah, their indication is parent-child relation is defining at the code level itself.
Yes, exactly. Generally we'll do all these things in reporting level after posting all the accounts and transactions. Lately when we prepare reports, we generally create this kind of dummy accounts. The total accounts are dummy accounts only, right? We don't generally use those total accounts for transaction purpose. They're only used for reporting purpose or to calculate the total balances. That's all. So that's why when I see here, some accounts will have nature total. So this is a total account, right? Total assets account, suppose. So this is also total. This is also total. While coming to this account, the final one, this is having the nature of asset. So this is the actual asset account, which is a child in this total, and this child and this child are total childs in this total, like that. So the actual asset account will be like this. Is you see here under 1.4.1, which is a total account, we have these many assets. 1.4.1.01, 02, 03. So all these are actual assets or actual accounts. So there will be differences like this. Chinese also follows almost same kind of thing. You see, This one with 4 digits, 1001 is a total account. Within 1001, you see 1001, 01, 02, 03, the extension to 1001 you see. Without points, they are using this. This is Chinese chart of accounts. So most of the Chinese companies will follow the same chart of accounts, same this way. So 1002 will be another total account. So in that we have other cash accounts. So this will be one cash accounts, one cash nature account. This will be other cash nature accounts, other cash equivalent accounts. So this will be the total item. So within that extension to that number, we have 01, 02, 03, 04, which will be the actual accounts in that chart main account. So this is another way of maintaining chart of accounts. Guys, it all depends upon how the client want to follow. Okay, you have to understand how this chart of accounts can be structured. We have seen 3 different ways or 4 different ways how we can design chart of accounts, but we have done a simple way. Okay, these are all some other ways you can use chart of accounts. Go through this existing chart of accounts in your system. You will definitely have all these things in your chart of accounts also given the given demo environment for you. Just don't make any changes. Just go through them and see how they are how they planned or how they configured their accounts, their chart of accounts or main accounts. Okay. Let me know if you have any doubts or any other business scenarios in mind. So I'll go for our one MRF like this. So I am not creating total accounts. I can also create total accounts if I want to, but I did not create any. That's all. For 1 lakh, I can give total cash account if I want to. And again, in that, I could have created all these things. It's normal. Tomorrow, we will see this menu details within the main account here. And what are the different options we have? We'll see what are that are required. So not most of them are required, and few of them will not be active until and unless we do some setups, later setups. So we'll come back to that explanation once again, but we'll see these details of what is a main account and the menu details in main account, as well as we also talk about financial dimensions tomorrow. These 2 things. Okay. Let me know if you have any confusion until here. The creation of chart of accounts and creation of accounts within the chart of accounts. Main account mask, automatic account type selection, or designing a chart of accounts, or how different chart of accounts are compared from one to other. Do some work, analysis, and come back with some doubts. That would be good. Else we have crossed our time. We can meet tomorrow, guys. If you have any doubts, you can stay back. I'll be here for some more time. I'll just stop recording until